It's loading.
Is it still delayed?
I think we might be live. What's funny is I can't tell for sure. So I'm going to go to our page and see.
You froze. So this is like a bad karate movie. That's fun.
Right? Oh, we're live. Okay, good.
Yay!
Perfect. That's awesome. Okay. So, I'm so excited to have our first author here. Her name is Sadie Frances Skyheart, and welcome to our first author chat for NTL 2020. We're really excited to do this. We're going to be doing all of the author chats here on Facebook Live, and then we will be recording chats and posting them on our YouTube page after the fact. You should also be able to here. Sorry about that. I had to fix a setting.
That's okay. As long as you're not frozen.
Of course. Okay, so we're all set with that. And we're going to be putting it should be available on our Facebook and our YouTube.
All right. If you freeze, I'll just ad lib.
Perfect. So, Sadie, you are the author of The Recollection of Trees.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a little synopsis of what your book is about?
Sure. I have this memorized because I had to say it to producers, and it's like, you better have it right or they're going to walk away.
Your elevator book speech.
Yes, the quickie, the quick one. So a teen girl doesn't know she's a witch until she makes a desperate wish under her favorite tree, which inadvertently unlocks a 300-year-old curse on her family, and it kills her stepfather. And then she has to figure out who she is, who she belongs with, mom, dad, mom's church, dad's coven. It's all kind of crazy. So
yeah, I really liked that. That is like totally a universal theme that like everybody can relate to, is like figuring out where you fit and like who you are. Yeah. Especially for teenagers.
Yes. I sort of stuck in my teenage years. I don't still have the big 80s bangs, but yeah. But yeah, no, like I wanted to communicate that normal is an illusion, you know? There is no normal. Yeah, just be absolutely. Yourself. Yeah. So that's it.
That's awesome. Well, I really enjoyed the book. I actually just finished it yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So your main character, Iona, she finds out she's a witch, and so there's a lot of kind of background about like magic with a K. So you guys will learn the difference between magic with a C and magic with a K. Actually, do you want to explain that?
Sure. So magic with a C is like a magician playing tricks and causing illusion, and magic with a K is like self-belief and all the things you do that are like kind of prayerful. And here comes my cat. Sorry ahead of time for, I hope not a cat undercarriage. Okay.
Perhaps you're familiar since
yeah, it's my familiar. And this is Pickle. Okay, that's just so
Pickle,
rude.
that is a great name for a cat. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you. Pickle is always in pickles. He's aptly named. Yeah. So, and he'll just keep doing laps. Don't ask. I don't know, and I can't stop him. So. Sorry. Anyway,
that's great. So that's the difference between magic with a C and magic with a CK.
Yes.
And then, so is this something that you actually knew a lot about, or did you do a lot of research to learn about magic? And there was some mention of Wicca. So how did you get all of your knowledge base about that?
Well, I didn't think you were going to ask me that. Okay, so I'm a recovering different religion, and now I'm that. So yeah, it's kind of my thing. I kind of gravitated towards witchy stuff. And after high school. I was gravitating towards it before that, but like saying it out loud. Oh, I think I'm this. Yeah, it just made more sense. I just felt like more connected outside than I did inside with people who were kind of dysfunctional. So that's where I ended up. I'm not saying all people that sit inside are dysfunctional.
Right.
Just the people I was around. So
Yeah, I like the comparison in the book. It's like, even if you're a witch, you can have any sort of like religion to go with that. Like people assume it's like its own religion, but it's like it's not. So, like, you could be a witch and practice Wicca, but you could be a witch and you could be a Christian too.
You could. I don't know any, but I've heard that exists.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I do have 2 questions that I didn't prompt you with because I just finished your book, so I wrote these today. But the next one is that I really like the character Moose and
Cool.
and the naturalistic healing. So I was wondering, like, are you familiar with energy work and like, have you had that experience? Because I'm really fascinated by it.
Oh, that's so cool. These are such good questions. Okay, so because I'm so used to like, what made you write the book? Like generic questions, and you're asking me good questions. Okay, so Moose is based on somebody I kind of know. Well, I do know, and he does that kind of healing, like, and it's kind of sing-songy when he does it, but it's cool. Like I got into that in my 20s. You asked me. Oh, I am a Reiki master. I don't really, I kind of just do it for like people I know. I don't do it like, for a business or anything. Some people do it for business. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with energy work, if you're like maybe from a Christian background or another traditional, more mainstream religion, I would say it's like asking for grace, and then you just kind of let grace flow through you. It's nothing spooky, really. We just pretend it is to be cool.
Well, yeah, in the book, so in the book, if you guys have not read it yet, Moose performs this kind of like ritual on Iona to kind of like get her back in alignment. And I loved reading that, and I loved reading her ceremony where she commits to like learning about witchcraft and what she can do with it, and that was really great too. So
I'm so glad to hear that. This makes my heart happy. And here comes the cat. Okay. No? Yes?
I love your cat. Pickle, welcome. Okay, so I have a criticism, but it's not about the writing or whatever. It's just about Iona's mother and having her committed to the mental hospital. So that made me so upset. And
you're not the first person to say that.
Yeah.
So
I do struggle with mental illness, so like that is kind of a sore spot with me. But I'm going to think about it in a literary sense, and I'm going to think about so when you're like crafting a novel, and I would call this magical realism because it's really set in the real world, but then there's like a huge magical element. So like, are you worried about like following certain norms with that, or like, she's in a mental hospital? In theory, depending on her being like, she doesn't really know anything about witchcraft, but maybe if she did, she could get out of it. But she's kind of like helpless when she's in this situation. So kind of what was your thought process when you were writing that part of the book?
So, wow, that was okay. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, your brain is right in line with a producer I was talking to who said, I loved your book. I read it, and one day I couldn't put it down, but I'm so mad she didn't tell off her mom. Her mom was so mean. And I was like, oh, crap. So in the sequel, she tells her, I brought that back because it was like, oh, yeah, that needed to happen. I felt like she did confront her, but then when the feedback I started getting was like, that was so, over the top mean. Yeah. So good insight.
Necessarily think it's like her committing her, but like her not visiting her not contacting her, not finding out that they're drugging her,
Yeah.
and just thinking that other people are going to take care of it and not like finding out for herself. That like I had an issue with that. Like I'm not a parent, but I can't imagine a parent just being like, here, you have my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I needed the mom to be the opposite of empowerment, because I wanted Iona to be disempowered in the beginning and take back her power, not because anybody else helped her. Because if there's one genre convention in young adult, it's that the young adult has to empower themselves by the end. When they get rescued, that's like, no one wants to read that. So that was one. You asked if I was sticking to, okay, magical realism. Yeah, I was trying to um kind of hint at things that maybe you see but you don't think are magic, like static electricity,
Yeah.
things like that. So there was that, and then there was just blatant, we're doing a spell now, so I was kind of showing it in different layers, I hope. But with her mom, she's in a whole lot of trouble in the second book, so
Uh-oh.
so you'll get redemption on that. And yeah, but when the producer said that to me, I thought, oh wow, maybe I have some mom issues to work out. Nothing like writing
Oh my
something and
gosh.
having the whole world see, oh yeah,
Yeah, one of our upcoming authors, Deep Koram, he's been known to say that writing is the cheapest form of therapy.
yeah,
So I hear that from authors a lot.
yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of things in the book that did happen to me. I just made it more interesting. But yeah, I struggled with parent relationships and adults not believing me when I wasn't safe, and a lot of those things. Thank God nobody committed me to a psych ward, but that could have happened. That could have easily happened to me. And um when I first wrote it, I had her grandma rescue her, and then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hang on, she needs to no do it herself. So there were a lot of versions before I got to she empowers herself, and it was a lot of therapy on myself. It was. That is true. That is true. That's
That's
super
awesome.
personal. Okay, hi.
Yeah. Somehow we get there. That always happens with me. I don't know. I tell about myself, and I think that makes people want to share too. So,
Yeah, you're like
how did you?
the Walters of
I'm an
libraries.
author
Okay.
whisperer. Well, I'm
Yeah.
a librarian and I'm a big fan and I read voraciously and I love YA and I love kind of
Oh,
dissecting it and kind
nice.
of how the authors come to put their books together and like and like that they put so much effort into writing the book, so it has so much meaning to them, so we kind of want to learn the meaning behind the stories.
Yeah.
So
I
how did
love
you get
that.
started writing?
So, my fourth grade teacher, she just kind of saw that I was not the same as everybody else. Or maybe I was getting on her nerves. But she encouraged me, and she told me that I could be like Zilpha Keatley Snyder, and that was my favorite author. And I thought, really? I could be cool like her. I could write spooky stuff like that, because everybody else, in fourth grade was reading Beverly Cleary, and I liked those too, but I thought, oh, these are my books. These are spooky, and I had a dark little soul. so, so when she was like, you could do that, I don't know, it started it. And I still have a Christmas ornament from her, from my fourth grade teacher, that I hang every year. It's the first one I hang, because she told me I could write.
That's awesome. So,
Yes.
well, Megan, one of our teens asked, what inspired you to write? Do you think you would say that was that teacher?
That
Or
teacher, and in first grade, before I could even write sentences, we did this little skit, and the local TV came and filmed it. And I don't know, the teachers always picked me like for the leader in the room, and I always hated that because whatever. But so we were on TV. I remember seeing myself on TV and thinking like, oh my gosh, now I'm famous, but I didn't understand. And then the next day, the teacher was talking about all the different jobs in TV. And she said, on The Wizard of Oz, somebody wrote the story and somebody helped the dog. And I was thinking, who writes the story? I want to do that. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know screenwriter. And I didn't embrace screenwriter out loud until I was in like a few years ago. I won't say my age, but way past teenager. Yeah.
Well,
so
I bet there's a lot of teens at our lock-in that would love to know more about that. And it's in your bio that you helped produce a crime drama in the death room that was based on a Stephen King short. So like was did you work on screenwriting that, or I think a lot of us are like, what does a producer do?
Okay. I'm going to tell you a secret. There isn't going to be a secret after I tell all of you. But so in that specific situation, I wrote somebody a check. That's all I did. I did nothing. So, and it wasn't a big check, so don't think yeah. But so one way that you can get an IMDb credit, that's what I was trying to do, is help somebody crowdfund their project. So that's what I did. So when they crowdfunded, I was like, yes, please sign me up. I'm now an associate producer. So I get a credit on the thing and their movie gets made. And you know what? I'm so proud of that because my friends have taken that movie, even in the pandemic, all over the place to all these film festivals. They've won multiple awards. So I'm really proud of that. Like that, not that I wrote them a check, but that they did such a good thing. Like they're having all their success.
Like you supported something that really deserved it too.
Yeah. It's a neat thing Stephen King does every year. It's called Dollar Babies. And I don't know if there's an age limit, but go check it out. But he has like 30 or 12 or I don't know. There's a list of stories and you can make them into movies for $1. And the only thing is you have to deliver a copy of it to him, which is intimidating. But I mean, hey, then you can say you did a Stephen King movie, and how cool of him to do that. So
that's very cool.
Yeah. So that's how I got that. But normally, if you're a producer, not an associate producer, but a producer, you're the person who coordinates the whole project. So you hire the director, you option the screenwriter, you get somebody to do the funding, you pull it all together. You're the person pulling it all together. So, but I did not do that. Nope, didn't do it. I will.
Well, tell us about
someday.
your experience screenwriting.
So I am actually right now writing a comedy based on a crazy family that lives in Hell, Michigan. It's kind of, if I was going to pitch it really quick to you in the elevator, it's Meet the Parents if your family was the Addams Family. So
I love it.
It's crazy. It's totally crazy. There's a car chase with hearses. It's insane. And I have had so much fun writing it. But how that even happened, I was in Burbank last October to pitch my book, The Recollection of Trees. And I was at this thing where they trained you how to talk to the producers and got you all ready, because most of us writers are shy and not people-y. Mm-hmm. And I was all pumped up, ready to go. And the first person's like, yeah, you have to sell blah, 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 Hunger Games level of books. And I'm like, well, we'll see. So everybody, they do like this big algebra equation, and like, if you can make them money, okay, yes, we will do your, So I was in talks, but then COVID happened. So anyway, the third person, producer after producer, comes to the table. And I've been taking notes for my friends at the table because I noticed that everybody was kind of like, oh my God, I'm talking to a producer. Yeah. And so I decided I'm going to take notes, but I just had like Post-it notes that were in my purse. So then somebody threw me a notebook after the second one and I was taking notes again. And then we had another guy coming and I had not enough pages. So I started ripping the pages. and I'm ripping the pages, and the guy sits down, and I know he's a comedy guy, so I'm thinking, he's not going to do mine. It's, paranormal, whatever. And he walks over and he's like, sees me ripping the pages, and he's like, "You okay, Mom?" And I'm like, "No, I have a big problem," and I just like shot back at him, and we just had this rapport, and we were laughing through the whole thing. And we still had to do our pitch, so I do my pitch about Recollection of Trees, and he's like, "Oh, sounds intense," and I'm like, "A little bit, yeah," and then he's like,
I'd be like, "Do you know YA literature at all?"
Right. And so the $1 million question that you're like dying and like, please say the question is, what else do you have, or what else you got? Because that means they like your writing, but they can't do whatever you just pitched. And he says, "What else you got?" And I'm thinking, nothing. So I just go, a guy gets a DUI in a hearse. Like, I don't even know what that just came out of my mouth. And he's like, "Oh, that's hilarious." And I'm like, "Okay." And so in my brain, I'm like, "Oh, I better go home and write that." So that's why I'm writing that. So there you go. That's how that happened. I don't recommend pitching something you haven't written. Kind of dangerous.
Then you have to go home and write it.
Oh, let me deliver that. Oh, I don't know. Okay, yeah. So that's
So, I did give you like a few inside the actor studio questions.
Yeah, you did.
That are like very short. So I'll ask you a few of those.
Okay.
And then we have a few questions to wrap up.
Okay.
Okay. So what's your favorite word?
Okay. This is why I had to write my answer so I didn't accidentally say a bad word on camera. So my answer is, I can't say it on video chat. But okay. my favorite sound is when I make people laugh. So I'll say that sound.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite word?
I also can't say that on.
Okay. What makes you laugh?
Well, incongruent moments, when you're going along and you're expecting, and then it's something else, and you go, "Oh, whoa, I wasn't that cracks me up." And I love
That's a great answer.
When humor is clever, like not just going for the insult. Like, insult humor is good, but not when it's just mean, it's like
That's why I've always really liked Gilmore Girls, because it's so fast and witty and quippy. And
yes. I mean, I'm gonna sound old because probably your parents watch this, but Frasier. I love Frasier. Like
Frasier.
So I'm
secretly an old little lady because like my favorite show ever is Murder, She Wrote, and I love Angela Lansbury. So don't tell me I don't know Frasier.
Okay, you are an old little lady. That's true, because Murder, She Wrote. Wow. Okay. No, I'm kidding. But no. So I also think weird relatives, but that would take up another half hour, so we won't. But yeah, some very weird relatives.
And what scares you?
Something bad happening to my kids.
Yeah.
I will own you. You hurt my kids.
My sister said that. She's like, things change as soon as you get.
Yes.
She was like, there's certain things I can't even watch anymore if they like involve, bad things happening to children.
Nope. Just nope. All of a sudden you're PG. You just go, "No, can't watch that. No murder. Only if I write it." Yeah, no. The mama bear thing is real. Like, somebody stole my kid's bike, and I kind of blacked out. Like, I was driving, and then I was standing in a Chinese restaurant parking lot snatching the bike out of the person's hand barefoot. And I don't know, that was not smart. I probably could have been shot or stabbed or both. And I don't know. That's the mama bear. Like, you just do things and then later go, that wasn't really a good thing I just did. So
yeah. That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
It is a little crazy. It makes you feel crazy.
Who's your favorite fictional character?
You know,
This is a hard question.
I have so many. I put.
I know I'm not
put
good with
Katniss.
absolutes. Somebody says favorite, and I have 10.
I know. So I just put Katniss, and which is like a cop out answer, honestly. But I don't know. Like, she's empowered, so that's why I chose that. So
That's great.
I'll stick with my brand, empowerment.
Yeah. What was your favorite childhood book?
Okay, I said Zilpha Keatley Snyder, so everything by her. Velvet Room, Eyes in the Fishbowl, Black and Blue Magic, Egypt Game, Headless Cupid. I read it all. I just read it again when the pandemic started. I was like, I'm going to read these third grade books, and they're still really good. So there you go.
That's awesome. I love when childhood books hold up.
Yeah.
Because it's sad when you read something from childhood and you're like, this is not that good.
Yeah, I love Judy Blume, but I also just reread Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, and there's some parts I'm like, no, that's not what we do now.
Yeah, some things get dated with time.
Right. And it's not her, it's just time. Yeah. So.
All right, so I want to ask, we'll see if we can get you to give us any spoilers at all. The sequel to The Recollection of Trees, Blue Willow Witch, is coming out October 20th. So what can we expect in the sequel?
Well, she is going to tell off her mom, which I already told you.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
No, I'm kidding.
Wow, I was not expecting the twist with her best friend. That kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was not getting the signals at all.
Oh, I'm glad.
It was good. It was a good surprise.
Oh, good. Okay. So
it was not obvious to me.
Honestly, so this has been the hardest part in writing the sequel, is that I don't know what to do with him, because originally he died.
Oh, yeah.
And like 3 weeks before I published it, I was like, no.
Because that would be too much tragedy. Well, yeah. I kind of thought they said like bad things happen in 3, so it is still a bad thing, but was it bad things or deaths? Because if it's...
Well, I just realized that she was going to have a stronger transformational journey if she realized there was good in all the things she was being confronted with. Because the way it was, everybody was sitting around like, he's dead and it's sad and it was terrible and depressing. And I'm like, you know what? Kids don't need another sad thing. There's, you know, a lot happening in the world, and that was before the pandemic. So I'm like, no, let's have a hopeful thing happen. And so now I got to figure out, so now what's happening with him, because he didn't exist. Yeah. And so some things happen with him, and I'm curious what you thought of 6, the girl in the psych ward, the zombie girl.
Oh yeah. So I thought there's a part in the book that I was confused with, because for a second I thought she thought 6 was a ghost, because she saw her at the waterfall, but then she wasn't there or something. But maybe I misread that. I don't know. But nope. I was like, that can't be, because other people talked to her when she was in the psych ward, so she's not a ghost. But I was like, there's something going on with that. So
yeah,
I can't figure it out. But I also love McLean, so I look forward to seeing her again.
Yes, McLean.
She's awesome.
Okay, so all of the above make another appearance.
Excellent.
And
I'm pumped for it.
I'm hoping that you picked up on that she saw her at the waterfall. So there's another thing that is a big clue about the sequel. And I'm hoping that when people are in the sequel, they go, oh, that was in the first book.
I think a lot of people too, with the whole sparking, because like at the end, then you just realize apparently that she does that. But I always thought it was because I'm sorry, what's his name? Jules. I always thought it was because Jules was a witch too, and that's why they were sparking. But I don't know. I guess we'll learn more in the sequel.
Maybe he is.
I have all these theories, and then maybe I was also like, what if his family is like a family of like bad witches, and like they shouldn't be together? I don't know.
What if?
I have a lot of conspiracy theories. It's my
I
thing.
need to. Okay, so you like are figuring me out, and I need to stop talking because then no one's gonna read it because you'll just have told the whole story.
Well, maybe we've like brought so much interest. Megan's getting an ebook copy of this, so because she asked that question, that was a really great
Yes.
question. I'm just gonna check really quick to see if we got any more questions.
I haven't been
Don't
watching.
see any more.
She's too weird. Get her off of there.
Okay, and then all right, we have a couple last questions to wrap up. What advice would you give your teenage self if you could go back in time and talk to your teenage self?
Okay.
I like asking this.
Yeah, my teenage self was so serious. Like, I mean, I was funny on the outside, but I was so doomed on the inside. And so if I could go back, I would just be like, take a breath. And something happens when you hit my age. I'm not going to say. So, okay, I'll just say. So a few years ago, I hit 40. I'm just, okay. So, and there's something that happens that's kind of magical where you realize everything really is always going to be okay, even when you're going through really bad stuff. Like some of the stuff Iona went through, I went through, okay? Like some of the mean, abusive stuff. So, but like 30 years of therapy later, I'm okay. So just, it's okay. But the thing that I realized is you really are always going to be okay. And here's the thing, if you're not okay, you're dead, which means you're also okay. Like it's over, whatever it was. It's super morbid,
Yeah.
but it's like kind of freeing because then it's like just be yourself, just give out free mom hugs and just do you because you're you're gonna get one chance to be you,
Yeah,
nobody else can do you.
absolutely.
I mean, be you. That was bad. So, and also I would tell myself, write everything down because it's all material. If you can just spend 20 minutes a day writing it all down, oh my gosh, I would have so much material on my parents and I would totally do stand up on it. Just like, and then my mom said, yeah, because it's all material. Everything is material. If it's the worst, if it's the best, write it down, write it down, write it down.
All right, our final question is, do you have any advice for aspiring writers?
I do. Do you want to hear? No. Okay, I wrote this down because I want to make sure I said all this because it's super important, in my opinion. So first of all, don't call yourself aspiring. Just decide you're a writer. Don't get feedback until you've written several drafts, because I got feedback from somebody and then I felt paralyzed because they gave me bad advice. Don't get feedback from somebody who isn't an expert in your genre. Like, you don't want to get feedback from a nonfiction expert and you're writing witches. That would be disempowering. Lots of writers will tell you to write every day, and that's great advice, but a secret way to motivate yourself to do it is use a calendar and mark the day and just do it so you visually see this like pattern you're doing. Every day I'm doing it. And it's like a motivation. Can you keep the pattern going? Can you keep it going? Read books, read scripts. I'm on track to read probably 150 scripts this year. I made a goal to read 100 and I think I passed it. I check in about every once a month and I'm like, oh my God, I don't realize how many I'm reading. If you're currently writing, and this is like timely, everybody's sick of being depressed and sick of all the stuff going on. So be writing something funny or something that's an underdog story, because that is what's going to sell. That's what's going to be the easiest to publish next, or the easiest to make as a movie. And the last thing, this is super important. The future is all about keywords. I know that sounds cuckoo, but no matter if you're writing books, TV, film, plays, just remember Amazon and Netflix and all those, they are not just bookstores and streaming platforms. They're search engines. So if your title has keywords in it, people don't have to remember your title. You know, there was a movie called Shakespeare in Love. You forget the title, you're like, well, what was that movie? It was about Shakespeare in Love. Oh, right? Then they find the movie anyway. So that makes it easier for a producer or a publisher to say yes to you, because it shows that you thought about the job they're going to have to do to market you. So the more you have keywords in your title, in your description, just everywhere you can, that helps market your writing. And I can tell you that for a fact, because The Recollection of Trees is a terrible title. It does. No, it doesn't tell you it's about witches. It doesn't tell you it's about a teenage girl. It sounds like I'm some kind of environmentalist. Right? I didn't know. I was like, oh, this is this is literary. But if I want to sell it as a movie, the title will be The Accidental Witch. And now you know exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's great. Or even the Hereditary Witch, maybe, because that I thought was a fascinating element, is that it was passed on, her family.
Yes.
Because I've read rich stories where it wasn't like a family thing too. So
Yep. Yeah, something like that, where it's like, tell me what it's about. Like, as soon as you hear Jaws, you know, well, something's gonna try to eat me, right?
yeah.
Like, right? Or Speed. That was pitched,
Oh
actually. Yeah. Sorry, I'm picking
M.T.
old
Anderson.
stuff you don't know. Yeah.
M.T. Anderson, I love that so much. It's so good. Actually, I think it's still relevant, even though like technology is catching up. But
right, but that was pitched as Die Hard on a bus. Like, if you can pitch it really easily, right? But that's how it was pitched. So, you know, Hunger Games, that's a great title, because you know, it's like, well, what is, there's some, you know, it kind of hints at what it is. So that's all I mean.
Yeah.
So just think about, I'm not saying, you know, only think about how you're going to sell it, but when you're thinking of your title, and when you're thinking about how you're going to pitch it, how you're going to send that letter to your publisher or producer, whoever, be thinking about the keywords that, you know, could help sell it. Just by saying what it is, you're selling it, and you're not trying to convince them. You want to help the person see it already in their mind. So
I think that's fantastic advice. Usually, like, I get authors say, read, write.
I mean, it's true, but don't just tell yourself that, because you're not going to do it. Like, mark it on the calendar, like, set a goal. Right, 1 year from now, I'm going to read this many books, or I'm going to write this many jokes. Like, I just made a goal for myself today that I'm going to do stand up 50 times before this date next year. I just said that out loud.
I love that so much.
I can't believe I just said that out loud in public. But yeah, that's my new goal. My next goal is be in a writer's room. I want to be in a writer's room so I can laugh every day, all day, for my job.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sadie, for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I'll make sure that Megan gets that copy of your ebook. And then we're also going to be giving away a signed copy of your book. So we have a lot of entries into our giveaway, and we'll be drawing that probably tomorrow and let everybody know who the winners are for our giveaways.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and if you don't win, you can also follow me on Facebook, because on Mondays I give away an ebook every Monday for people who comment on my Movie Monday thing. Just because I don't know, because I like to talk to people. So there you go.
That's awesome.
There's always another chance.
There you go. Yeah. If I've made you want to read it, hopefully I have. I've convinced you that
you made me want to read it.
Yes. Well, that is the goal of librarians, basically, is making people want to read things. So,
you know, my elementary school librarian, I have to give her a shout out. She was missing a finger. I'm not kidding. She grew up in Germany. Her brother accidentally chopped her finger off
Oh my gosh.
when they were chopping wood. And she told all of us kids this story, and everybody was like, ah! And I was like, really? And I was really intimidated. And she's like, let me show you the Zilpha Keatley Snyder books, you know. So that was my first like real friend in the literary. So librarians
That's
rock.
awesome.
She was
Yeah, I love
cool.
hearing librarian stories.
She was edgy and cool. Yeah, she made me feel like books were cool. So yeah, librarians are cool. And I can't say the word I really want to say, you know, bad. Mm-mm. Anyway,
Yeah.
have fun tonight with everybody, all the
Yeah.
games and
All right,
all
guys,
the
we're
other authors.
gonna be back at 8 o'clock with Meredith Russo. So